How do you get a job in IT and cybersecurity? And how do you learn which learning pathway to take to learn the skills you need to get those jobs? These are two common questions that I've been getting recently, and I want to take time in this video to address them. I've gotten them during live streams. I've also gotten them during, instructional sessions. I have taught IT and cybersecurity for private companies like Hack the Box, and for colleges like community colleges here in the United States for the past 5 years or so. And I've seen a lot of success in launching students into the industry. I've also helped career coach a few people, and what I've noticed in all of them are some trends. One of those things that you really need to get in your mind and in your goals first is, what do you want to do in the field? There are so many different job titles. So it may be best that even if you're learning IT and cybersecurity right now, or even software development, that you get an idea of what job title you want to occupy. Now, this could be, if you're first starting out, you may want to be an IT Support Analyst or a Help Desk Analyst. And there's so many different titles for these positions, but you can start with those. If you want to work on the network side of things, you could look at a Network Analyst or a Network Support Analyst. If it's security, you may want to look at trying to get into the Security Operations Center. But I will say, when it comes to security, I believe that a lot of people think it is wise to just break in without ever working any other IT job. I personally believe before you can secure a network and before you can secure an IT environment, you have to know how to build one. And I would even go so far as to say you have to know how to support one. I don't think it's a great idea to try to get a cybersecurity position as your first job. Now, there are so many learning resources out there to help you get there, but I think on your way to that position of, maybe you're trying to be a Security Operations Center analyst or a SOC analyst, or maybe you want to be on the offensive side and you want to be a penetration tester. It is possible to break right in, but what I'm saying is that you have an advantage if you've had some experience administering IT environments. So you may want to look at trying to start out as a help desk administrator or a IT support analyst before you get into the actual applying for cyber roles and even going for some of these certs. Because one of the things that you may come across if you're a beginner is you'll start learning security concepts, right? So maybe you're trying to do hacking on Hack the Box and it's just not clicking, and it seems like there's like a really huge learning curve. Well, keep in mind, everybody's always learning, right? Everybody's learning new things all the time. There's nobody in the industry, even the experts, that really just know everything, right? We're all learning. I can tell you, I've been in the industry 10 years. 5 of it has been instruction and teaching and career coaching. And throughout that whole process, I've been learning. It's not that you'll ever arrive. And I want you to realize that. And I really recommend you just commit that to your mind and internalize that you will never fully arrive. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you'll never really understand everything, right? And that's a good thing, because you want to remain humble, especially if your goal is to break into cybersecurity, because it changes so often that if you feel like, oh, I already know, and you arrive with this mentality that you have solved every problem there is to solve, you have seen every vulnerability, you have seen every IT environment and setup and configuration, then your mind won't be open enough to really experiment with trying things that no one's ever come across before or that aren't well documented on the internet. When you think about breaking in and what you should learn, you should see it through that lens, right? So that the job title and the job description stuff's great, right? So when you find that title, and you ask people too, right? Don't hesitate. Ask people, hey, I see you're a pen tester or whatever. what does that entail? What's your job like, as much as you can tell me? And most people, they're going to be open to helping you. I'm sure there's lots of other people on YouTube doing this, on Twitch, blogs out there, LinkedIn, all types of social media. You can connect with these professionals that may be in positions that you want to occupy. Ask them. Feel free to ask me in the comments. I can address a lot of different positions that I've occupied and within IT, and also help prepare people to get into, and I've hired people too. I've been in management roles, and so if you have questions, you can ask me in the comments, and I'll get to you, or you can jump in our Discord. And these are just some of the things that you should think about. Once you have the title of the job and the position, you kind of say, I want that. You should think about looking at the job description. And this is where I'm going to get into, how do you know what thing you should learn, or how do you align your studies, right? How do you know what you're learning is relevant? Well, you look at job descriptions and you read them. What are these companies expecting? What are some of the technologies they list? Because on job descriptions, a lot of times you can see bullet points that lists very specific technology. It'll say such and such years of experience in Active Directory, or such and such level of experience with C2 frameworks like Metasploit and Covenant, and so on and so forth. So this tells you, okay, these are some of the things they want me to know. And then how you decide what you're going to learn and what resources you're going to use will be based on that. Let's say your goal is to become an IT Support Analyst. You find a role, I don't know, maybe it's at a bank, and maybe that's not the exact role you're ready for right now, but that's the exact role you want to get into to get your foot in the door. You look at that, and you look at the job description, you look at the technology, and then those keywords. For example, I mentioned Active Directory. You start looking at Active Directory content, right? What are some of the top rated resources out there on YouTube or on the internet, maybe paid even? Don't be afraid to pay for learning resources, because when you think about a penetration tester, for example, entry-level penetration tester, which is usually someone who has IT experience, they can make close to six figures, right? So, anywhere from 80K to 100 starting. And that's normally because even though they call that entry level, it's entry level in pen testing, which is not normally and it's not easily accessible for everybody. I'm going to say that. I'm not saying, again, that you can't break into penetration testing and cybersecurity, because pen testing is just one side of cybersecurity without IT admin experience. But I'm just saying, the people that have the IT admin experience, they can have an advantage because they've already seen the relationship between systems, how businesses use IT, and then they build hacking knowledge on top of that, or cybersecurity, firewall, locking an environment down knowledge on top of their IT foundations already. Really, the truth of the matter is, IT foundations are again the foundations of cybersecurity. So that's why they're so important. So if you are saying, hey, I'm going to be relentless and I want to break into a cybersecurity role as my first role in IT as a whole, and then you're going to need to grind first on the IT foundations, in my opinion. And you can use websites like Hack the Box and others to really do that, but it's going to be a bit more of a challenge when you start trying to dive right into cybersecurity first before you cover the fundamentals. And what are the fundamentals you might want to know? I can tell you some of them right now. I believe, this is in my experience teaching students and seeing their success and where they are today and how they've progressed in their career. Myself as well included, because I was a student. We're all a student of the industry, because everything's changing all the time. But here's how I think about it. The first thing you should learn is really technical wise is your hardware stuff, right? Basic computer operation, right? What is an operating system? What is a PC? What's the PC, the desktop PC made up of? What's a motherboard? What's RAM? What are all those hardware components? How do they relate? What's a laptop? How does a laptop differ from a desktop? It seems remedial, but it matters. What's a smartphone? Like, this is a computer, right? I mean, your smartphone is a computer. What hardware does it have? The operating system stuff, right? So you got your hardware down, then you get into operating system. Windows is huge. Windows is over 70% of the business desktop OS environment. You can look that statistic up, but it always fluctuates, but it's pretty much above 70% desktop OSs are Windows. Now, however you feel about Windows, that's the reality of it. It's business. It's running businesses. Businesses run on Windows for the most part. So you got to get to know Windows. Because Windows is so important, and in most businesses that run on Windows, they're going to be joining those machines to what's called a domain, or connecting the machines to Active Directory. So you really need to know Active Directory too, right? And as you go, you'll start to learn, okay, wow, there's a lot to this, right? And there's niches, right? Like, as you learn about Active Directory and Windows, and if you're in software, if you're getting into software development or the basics of programming, you may even also start getting exposed to databases. And I'll say in my career, I haven't really done much database administration. I would say that's a niche. But if that's something you're interested in, databases, you should learn databases. But it's all going to align with what position you want to prepare yourself for. So these basics are usually standard across the board. Now, I'm speaking from an IT administration and system administration perspective. Pen testing is in there too. But for a software developer, this might be a much different perspective. There's a YouTube channel I really recommend. There's a few of them that I would really recommend for software development, and that's RWX Rob, really great guy. He does live streams too, but he posts a lot of his stuff on YouTube. He's great stuff. You have Free Code Camp as well. I'm not going to give you too many. There's so many channels, but Free Code Camp, they're a nonprofit. They give out free courses on YouTube, right? People contribute to they record a whole series, and it's one video. It could be like 9 hours, right? But it's broken into chapters, so you can just come back to it. But it's great, and their website is amazing because it teaches you programming, and it's free. So really cool stuff there when it comes to programming. But I'll say my background is mainly in IT administration, system administration, and more recently penetration testing and ethical hacking. So when we look at getting this job, and we look at what you need to learn, because that's that question, right? I got is, how do you finish something really? And I made another video called finish what you started, but this is more specifically finishing a resource. Really there's a lot of factors that go in, but I really think your motivation is important. What are you aiming for? Why are you doing that course? Because there's so many great resources now, very, very affordable resources that are online. You can just watch video series, or you can get on a Hack the Box and work on stuff and learn enough to get a job. You can, get on websites like CBT Nuggets and go through video series. I really like CBT Nuggets a lot as well. Or YouTube. It's crazy right now how many things, like for example, my channel with training, are happening on YouTube and are really beneficial, and you're learning a lot. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people upskilling exclusively on YouTube. So let me know in the comments too if that's what you're doing as maybe a seasoned professional. Because even me, working in the industry for a while, I still frequent YouTube, whether it's for entertainment or learning. I think it's a really sort of a special platform. But consider all these things in your your learning journey, because if you're anything like me, you're probably going to buy or subscribe to a lot of different learning resources, some paid, some free. And when you do that, what can happen is you get real excited because it's brand new. Some people do this with books too. They just buy new books and never finish them. But what you need to do is you really need to commit to finishing that learning resource aligned with your goal of where you want to get to, so that not only are you learning at a deeper level, but you're learning concepts in their entirety. This is going to prepare you better for these positions, right? Because it's not just about the interview. When you do get ready and you feel your knowledge is there, and people will start telling you if you're interacting with people, and I do recommend interacting with people and sharing knowledge, maybe even starting your own channel. It's when you get to that point, you should really start doing a resume. You build a resume, you write out all your experience, you write what technologies you've been working with, any personal projects you've worked on, any of the courses you've worked on online, and you articulate that. I'll do that in a separate video. I'll talk about I'll talk about resume writing, because I've helped quite a bit with that. And my resume works. How do you know you've done a good job with your resume? When you're applying and it's getting you interviews, getting you callbacks, right? That's going to come later on. But as you're learning and as you start to develop sort of a base and you're really getting it, you really should start that resume up. And the reason I still think you should do the traditional paper resume first, and when I say paper, I just mean in like, a word processor, like, Word or whatever you use, Google Docs. And you don't need to start from scratch. You can go out there and Google templates for the job you're looking for, right? IT Support Analyst job, resume template, penetration testing or penetration tester resume template, and help fill that template out with experience relevant to you. Maybe even use it for your inspiration for your resume, and build it from there and start applying. I'm also a big fan of trying to apply for positions through multiple different platforms, right? Using, LinkedIn, but not just LinkedIn exclusively, using ZipRecruiter, Monster, because, these websites, it's giving you a better chance of finding the position for you, but it's also giving the website a profile for the companies and the hiring managers to actively look for to look for candidates, right? One website I've had a lot of success on just getting interest on my profile is actually, and I was surprised at how effective it is ZipRecruiter. None of these have sponsored this. I'm just sharing this knowledge. The reason I'm saying that is because I'm getting alerts every day on my phone that shows, here's a digest of all the jobs we think, you would be a good fit in. You could do a one-click apply thing. And it also, though, it gives the hiring managers a way to search for candidates for their roles, and your profile might rank. And the reason I say make a resume is because every application you're going to submit most likely is going to be asking for your resume to upload. And you're probably also going to need to, it's annoying, but sometimes you need to fill out your experience again in whatever online platform they use to manage their resumes. And it makes it much easier if you already have your resume. A lot of the stuff you can copy and paste into the website, so that it's really just a version of your resume in that website's format. Whether that's, and the thing I like about the LinkedIn's and ZipRecruiters of the world is it's an online profile that is going to be that way for a while. So it almost gets to, it gets to sit on that site for a while, and you get to rank in a search engine, really, and of the site, the site's internal search engine. And it sort of works for you in a way. It's like automated recruiting in some ways. So I know that gets a little bit beyond what the initial theme of this is to talk about those two questions. I really just think it's important that you align with that in your learning, and that's how you're going to finish it. Is you're going to come back to, what's my goal? The final thing is, think about what it means to you and your loved ones around you. This is one thing that's helped me recently as I've gone through the process of working with. I'm working with several educational institutions now to deliver courses and to help and to do what I believe is my purpose. And I do think ultimately, when you decide what you're going to learn and you decide where you're going to go, it's going to boil down to what you believe your purpose is and how you want to have an impact on the people around you. And when I think about learning, I want to learn things I'm interested in and I find fun. That's really important to me. But I also want to be able to help others and provide for my family. So when I think about, if I can bring those together, right? And if you can bring those together, where your interests, what you want, where you want to be, and how you can really provide for the people around you and help the people around you, if you can bring those together, you almost find this intersection of your purpose, where it's like, okay, I love what I do. It's really interesting. I'm being a blessing. I'm fulfilling my purpose. That's why you should finish it. And that's what ultimately it boils down to when we talk about, why should I finish this learning resource, or how do I do it? How do I get out of this scatterbrain mindset of never finishing things? That's how you do it. You sit down, you finish it because it matters to people more than just you. It matters to people around you. There's people that need your help in the future, right? There's people that need your help. And that could be more than just your family. So keep learning. Let me know if this video has helped you and provided insight. Comment below. Shoot me a message on at my email address, on Discord, wherever. I'm here to help you succeed. No agenda. I just like to see people break into this field, whether it's on the IT side or the more specialized cybersecurity side. So have a wonderful week, day, night, morning, wherever you're at, and don't forget to keep learning.